Hi. Hello. Hello. Hola. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for coming this late hour, but I think that you will be surprised. How many of you have actually seen the movie? Anyone? No? Oh my God! All right. Well, there you go. Well, it doesn't matter what you think you're gonna see. You're gonna see something different. It really is, and it's a movie that it's been with me most of my life. The Disney Pinocchio was the second or third movie I saw with my mother as a kid, and I thought it was, in my long cinephile life, I was about 6 or 7. I said, this one captures how scary it is to be a kid. And it stayed with me, but I didn't like the idea of obedience being a virtue, so I thought disobedience is a virtue that is more urgent now than ever, and decided to when I was in my early years in Super 8, I wanted to do it. Then in my 20s, I thought about making it an ode to disobedience and to not changing to be loved, which I find a horrifying thing in some fables, that somebody has to be changed to be loved. I think if somebody doesn't love you the way you are, run the other way. And many of the things in this film try to go counter, but others go all the way back to some of the instincts by Collodi. Collodi was a very interesting guy. He was interested in certain esoteric aspects of Catholicism and Christianity. He wanted to be a priest. I am a lapsed Catholic, like any Mexican, and I'm interested in life and death and the brief time that we have, and how Pinocchio, with nails and made of wood and all that, could be an imperfect Messiah. So these are things. This is not, by the way, this is why this movie took more than 15 years to get made. Because everybody said no, because they kept asking, is this a movie for kids? For me, animation is not a genre for kids. Animation is a medium to create art. And I think animation is film. And I said, no, it's not pasteurized and homogenized for kids, but kids can watch it if their parents talk to them, which is a very bold experiment. And I think that the problem is that most people, when they think about animation, they think about what I call babysitter films, which is they can plop the creature for 2 hours in front of the TV and come back later and never utter a word about that film. This is not that. I don't have a filmography, I have a biography. Every movie I do, even the big commercial ones, has aspects of me that are very deep or painful for me to deal with in any other way. This is no exception. This movie evolved amongst many things about me reckoning with the beautiful abandon that comes when you realize you are in the last quarter of your life. And it's great. I actually kind of like it. I'm Mexican, I love death. I think it's the metronome of the universe. Nobody escapes to the tic-tac of birth, death. And in that brief space between the clicks, we are here to make a difference. And I think that's a really soothing thought for me. And the other thing that was interesting was I was a son for many, many decades. And my father was a big question mark, a shadow that was outsized and difficult for me to figure out. He passed away 5 years ago, and in the interim, I realized that I had 2 kids, and I was a father too. And in avoiding all his mistakes, I made them exactly the way he did them. And I found my father in the mirror. And I had to reckon with this idea that maybe the best version of Pinocchio was not the one where Pinocchio learns to be a real boy, but the one where Geppetto learns to be a real father. And feeling all this, I wanted to make it in stop motion, because stop motion, for those of you that know and those of you that don't know, I'm going to give you a brief primer of what it is. It's the most intimate form of animation. It's almost an invocation. It's almost like the most expensive version of you playing with your toys when you're a kid, and the most incredible, elaborate miniature sets which are gonna be in my collection, and you get to breathe life. Animate is to infuse with an anima, a soul, something that doesn't have it. And there is no more intimate contact than with the model and the animator than this form. Computer animation has a mouse, a cable, and a screen between them. 2D animation, drawn, has key posing, that is what the animator does, and then the middle, the in-betweens are filled by somebody else, etc., etc. Here is somebody alone with a puppet in a set, real props, real cinematography, is left alone to animate. And basically, the rhythm of animation is each animator renders between 1 and 2 seconds every week. This movie is 2 hours. So we took 1,000 days of production, and we worked with as many as 60 to 65 units, shooting all at the same time to render the film. Some animators went into a set to do a scene with the 2 characters and came out more than 2.5 years later, having finished it. Some of the shots took 16 weeks. We destroyed many, many, many puppets in the process, and we pushed something really beautiful that I would like to share with you and then let you finally see the movie. Normally, animation has if it's done industrially for kids, it's not for kids, it's for helicopter parents, really, when they say that. And they take a rhythm that is impossible in real life. It's sitcom-y and hypercharged, and most of the time we are seeing the same gestures that are inherited from generations of animation into almost an emoji catalog, and you see all the cool, super hip characters, that are, one eyebrow up and they're pointing at each other, and it's really, families are sassy and wacky, and the camera moves everywhere. And we wanted to stop all that and let the puppets actually act and emote. We said, we want emotion, not motion. Anybody can move the puppet, but I want to know what the puppet is feeling. I want to know what the puppet is thinking in order to move. And I'm happy to report that from day one to the end of the production, everybody delivered. And you're going to see things that are being tried that are beautiful and difficult. In animation, in live action, you sort of convoke things to come together, actors, props, in order to provoke an accident. A line that is read differently, a wind that moves the window, a car that goes by. Something happens that there's life and you're there to capture it. In animation, nothing moves. So you have to animate the wind, you have to animate the flap of a piece of fabric, you have to animate absolutely everything you see. So you have to then, one of our experiments is, we added accidents. We added unnecessary gestures. Instead of efficiently sitting down and grabbing a cup, we gave it 6, 7 movements more, which is the way it is in real life. And characters do fail gestures over and over again, and our desire was to evoke life. Just to leave you with a thought, this is the only animation process that is analog to live action, but it is to live action what Ginger is to Fred Astaire. We do the same steps backwards in high heels. Have a good night. See you later. Thank you.